Well, now we're at the north end of North Arm Bay. This part of the lake is completely infested with milfoil. Right now it looks pretty clean and nice. Give it 4 or 5 weeks and it'll be all the way to the top. Will just be a carpet of green. I've heard stories of dogs who have stepped off boats thinking that it was actually ground and found themselves swimming. As I said before, the milfoil was first discovered in Lake Minnetonka in 1987 in Excelsior Bay. But in 1988, it was found everywhere. So again, the conclusion is it had to have been in a much larger part of the lake. We just didn't realize it until '88 when we found it. Milfoil itself was brought into Lake Minnetonka, or actually brought to America in between 1950 and 1980. So you really don't know when it came in. Milfoil grows really well in nutrient-rich lakes. And Minnetonka is a very nutrient-rich lake. One of the things that's interesting is there's been some research done on the fact that milfoil grows better when there's not a lot of natural vegetation in the water. John Madison from the U.S. Army Environmental Laboratory, he did some experimenting on some lakes, not Minnesota, but some of the lakes that had milfoil, and he found that they grew where the natural vegetation wasn't there. And an interesting thing I think about in this lake is that the vast majority of the shoreline is privately owned. And the private homeowners, they go out and they take the weeds out, either chemically or by hand in front of their houses, so again they can swim and boats can use it and so forth. But the result of that is we end up with a lot of the lake without any natural vegetation. So the theory is that milfoil grows fast on this lake because, you know, one little cutting of milfoil is all it takes to float away and it'll plant in one of those empty pieces of ground that's been de-vegetated basically, and it grows fast. And so it's an interesting theory on maybe why Minnetonka is so heavily affected by milfoil. Now, when we first found milfoil, we really thought we would be able to destroy it. And it's obvious here, almost 30 years later, that we're not going to destroy milfoil. It's here. It can't be destroyed. Okay, so now we have to decide how do we control it or deal with it. There are two main ways of controlling and containing milfoil. Okay? Controlling it and then containing it. Containing it, the Department of Natural Resources, they're trying really hard to keep milfoil in this lake. They have staff who work at the public boat ramps, and this staff, they check the boats, the trailers that come in and out of the lake. They have washing facilities set up to wash the boats and so forth if they need to be washed out. I'm just really trying to keep the milfoil and some other invasive species in Lake Minnetonka. We'll talk about that more when we get to the ramp a little later on. Now, as far as controlling it, we've got two main ways that the lake's trying to control it. One is with harvesting, and one is with chemical treatments. Harvesting, they started doing that in the late 1980s, so almost immediately after they found it, they started harvesting. Harvesting is basically just a mechanical machine going out, grabbing the weeds, pulling them up, dragging them off, and a garbage truck hauls them away and dumps them somewhere. So it's actually physically removing the weeds from the lake. The challenge with that is that when you cut it, we know we talked about a little strand can break off and grow and plant somewhere. So one of the big arguments against harvesting is that you harvest it, you're dropping little strands all around the lake, so you're making it actually spread faster. It's also an argument that once you cut it, it grows back faster. And there was some research done by the DNR with W. Cromwell, and he checked the growth rate on milfoil in two lakes in Minnesota, not here. And he found that when it grows, when you cut it, it does grow faster until it catches up with the milfoil around it, and it slows down again. So, while it's true it grows faster, it really doesn't seem to make a big impact. Probably not the answer that either side of the argument wants to hear. Now, the chemical treatment. The problem with chemical treatments is, of course, you don't know what else you're going to kill. You put this chemical in the water and it's affecting other things. That always makes people nervous. There's been some research, again, Cromwell from the DNR did this research as well, on two lakes, again, not Minnetonka. And he found that at a low dose of chemical treatment, you could actually kill the milfoil and find 0%. But 3 years later, all that milfoil returned. So, reality is, it was a short-term solution, but it wasn't a permanent solving of the problem. It came back. So there's definitely some experiments going on in the lake with some chemical treatments, and there's been success. It's also very expensive. But bottom line is they're really not having, they're not eliminating it. They're doing some controlling of the milfoil. If you want to see some information on how to identify milfoil and help stop the spread of it, you can go to hashtag #TalkingMilfoil, and we've got some links to the DNR and so forth that have some pictures of how it works and how milfoil actually develops and how it spreads. All right, it's off to our next stop.